Is that video recorded? It's audio. Okay, we're good. All right. How do we are on YouTube for that one person watching? That was a joke today. All right, let's call this meeting to order. Can everybody online hear us? Sheila, Ron,
Well, hear you, hear you, but I'll bring others to how we talk. I'll tell them we're recording. It's true, I'm just telling them.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. All right, Board of Directors meeting number 125, March 26, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Adoption of the agenda. Be resolved that the agenda be adopted as tabled. So moved. Second by Larry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you. Review of the minutes. The minutes were from the previous meeting of February 26th, 2025 are tabled for your approval. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none. Be resolved that the minutes from February 26, 2025 be adopted as tabled. So moved. Second by Sandy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Committee reports. We have Finance and Audit Committee. Committee Chair is Councillor Sandy Hickman from the beautiful city of St. John's, host of the 2025 Summer Games.
Thank you very much, sir, for inauspicious introduction. Our last meeting was March 13th. First item is the check register payroll summary, and it's there for review and all the usual check register payroll expenses, BMO credit card. We had no issues or concerns at our committee meeting. Any questions?
Any questions for that? Hearing none, Sandy?
Move that be resolved the board adopt the expenditures for the month of February 2025 as table. So
Moved by Sandy, seconded by Bill. All those in favor? Contrary? Carried.
next, incorporated towns payment activity report dated March 10th. There was only one town had not yet made their first payment, but staff reached out as a reminder. And it's since confirmed that the payment has been processed and the check is in the mail. Then we have no other concerns. Any questions from anyone? It's longer than I thought. Asset management plan update. And staff continue to discuss the plan with internal stakeholders to develop evaluation and retention policies of various classes of assets. And we will do another update at next month's meeting. So really, it's just an ongoing thing, I guess, very good. Yep. Nothing big to report. Nothing big. Excellent. That's a good kind of news we like. 484, Trinity Bay South, Trinity Bay Center, contract extension. The materials were there. We adopted a motion at our meeting January 29th to exercise a 1-year extension of this collection. Contract states the board has the sole discretion to extend the contract at the original terms that we agreed about. However, the contract unfortunately has declined the 1-year extension. A letter outlining the terms of extension has been sent to the contractor and staff awaiting a response. So we're still awaiting.
Yes, sir.
With bated breath, with some doubts perhaps. What do you think?
I'm hopeful that
Very hopeful.
this will be resolved in a positive way. Yes.
Very well, well said. 485, the draft audit of financial statements for 2024 are in your package. As of December 31st, 24, current assets total 6.4 million, liabilities total 1 million. And tangible capital assets were valued at 5.1. There was an annual deficit report for 24 at 22,827, which is reasonable. Given the additional expenses occurred in the waste collection contract expenses due to the extraordinary events which occurred in the first quarter of 24. And the committee was pleased to hear actual results out of blind. We were pleased with the report. Anyone else have questions on that? Or displeased with the report? Is there any displeasure with the report?
Any questions on the draft financials? I guess it's a bigger question there, Councilor.
That's what I meant.
It's pretty,
Asked it differently.
Yes, I know, I'm clarifying for people who didn't understand how you asked, because you have a frog in your throat.
I do, you're right.
I just wanted to say, Sandy, if you give me a second, like, you know, you look at the numbers and where we ended up at the end of the year, considering the changes that we've made as a board over the last 12 months. It was pretty impressive. So I want to thank Greg and Lynn and staff that do the financing of our business, because they've pinched some pennies along the way and you know, deferred some other expenses that we, you know, we shouldn't do to get the numbers where they are. So it was a good job by all. Thank you for that. I
Full
appreciate
credit
it.
to
The board appreciates it.
Well done, gang.
Yeah.
All right, motion is, be it resolved, the board adopt the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 24, prepared by Harris Ryan Professional Incorporation as tabled. So
Moved by Councillor Hickman, second by Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Thank you.
And we go back to Old Pelican. The waste recovery facility, delayed extension. We talked about this and agreed to continue to delay the contract. There still are unacceptable materials at the site. They have been removed actually. And the contractor has agreed to not accept them going forward. But we are going to monitor this just to make sure. The access cards will also be monitored to ensure mandatory compliance. When the board is satisfied that the site is being operated in accordance with its policies, procedures, as well as meeting the conditions of the certificate of approval of operating, the committee will bring the contract extension back to the board for consideration. Just want to elaborate on that, maybe, Lynn, that we're having some concerns.
Yeah, we did, but we were thinking, I think it was in January, we brought the motion forward to extend the contract here. The contract operates the old Pelican waste recovery facility is similar to our waste contracts in that there's 2 one-year extensions that we have the sole discretion to do at the end of it. And this contractor has been running this facility for about 10 years. And we've not had any of these issues raised before, but unfortunately, when the province's EPO went there in January, there was inappropriate materials there that should not have been on our site. And he was warned, I guess, by the EPO that they had to be removed, and we were notified because, of course, it's our site and our CFA governs that site as well. So he has complied. Christie's confirmed all the inappropriate materials is now off the site. We just want to ensure that it's being operated in line with your guidelines. And we're going to wait until after April 1st to ensure that it is using or monitoring the access cards as they come in and processing those appropriately.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the EPO, for those who don't know, is the Environmental Protection Officer employed by the province.
Yes.
And my understanding too, Lynn, is that he has his own certificate of operation as well as us, right?
Yes, he
So,
does.
on our site, he has his own sort of side gig going, if you want to call it that, it's legitimate, side gig.
Yeah.
And then he takes commercial base, right?
Yes, but he has to put his commercial waste that he accepts directly into a trailer. It can't be put on our site or in any of the bins that he may use for us. And Christy and I sat down with the contractor. We had a really good meeting. It was a very positive meeting. I think for him, there were some gray areas that he wasn't 100% certain about. And to be honest with you, Christy and I had some gray areas as well. And I think we've come to a really good understanding of how we want that site operating going forward. And for us, it's just having a level of comfort that it is now in compliance. Yeah.
Any questions? All right.
No whispering.
Okay.
Amen.
That's the end, okay. Thank you very much. What do we have up next? We have Strategy and Policy Committee. Mayor Rod Delaney is going to do that one because Mayor Council Tilly is out of service.
Thank you, sir. So the following is the Strategy and Policy Committee meeting for March the 12th, 2025, starting with agenda item 4B1, the implementation of access cards at the waste recovery facilities update. At the committee meeting, we were informed that the board had received more than 3,000 applications and that the processing of applications was taking 4 to 6 weeks. To ensure that the staff at the waste recovery facilities are prepared for the implementation date of April 1st, the day of training and professional development was held on March 19th for all site attendants. At training, site attendants were provided application forms to pass out at the sites to those customers who report that they have not yet applied for their access card. By way of follow-up, as of last Thursday, March 20th, the board had received nearly 4,000 applications. All compliant applications received up to March 3rd have been processed, and at this time, about 2,000 access cards have been mailed out. Any non-compliant applications that were submitted up to March 3rd should have received an email requesting the missing information, etc. Unfortunately, the number of non-compliant applications received to March the 3rd, was over 800. To ensure timely processing, priority has been given to compliant applications. At this time, staff feel all applications submitted by mid-March will be processed by April 1st. Any questions? Being none, we'll move over to agenda item 4B2, which is household hazardous waste proposed locations. A brief note is included in tonight's meeting package. In 2024, the board held mobile HHW collection events at 10 locations throughout the Eastern region, and 369 customers dropped off materials. These events are held on a Saturday in either June or September with the cooperation of a local volunteer fire department. As the province moves to an extended producer responsibility approach, it is the manufacturers, importers, and distributors of HHW materials who are responsible for the collection, recycling, or disposal of these materials. As more drop-off locations become available throughout the Eastern region, the number of events hosted by the board will be reduced. Please remember that HHW collection is not included in the board's mandate. For 2025, it is proposed that the board hosts 8 HHW mobile collection events at Mount Carmel, Mitchell's Brook, St. Catharines, St. Vincent's, St. Stephen's, and Peters River, Permuse, Kingman's Cove, Beta Bird, Hearts Delight, Islington, Long Harbour, Mount Arlington Heights, Arnold's Cove, and Northern Bight, Hillview. In 2024, these events cost approximately $8,000 each, and for 2025, the anticipated cost is expected to be under $80,000 for all events. The proposed locations are spread over the Eastern region and cover those residents in areas that have less access to the EPR program drop-off sites, as overseen by the MMSB. The transition from providing a cash stipend of $1,000 to providing $1,000 worth of equipment for the fire department or town was well received in 2024. Purchase items included fire hoods, safety boots, fire hoses, and safety nozzles. Are there any questions?
One quick one there, Ron. I was negligent at the beginning of the meeting to introduce Charles Bone from the MSP. Sorry, Charles. Apologize for that. I don't know if you have anything to add into our household hazardous waste. We're trying to partner up with where you guys are, or you're not, probably is a better way of saying it. We're trying to fill in some of those gaps. Sheila, did you have something there? Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
I think there's an opportunity here for us to work together on HHW.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation in our office this week about that. And I think there's an opportunity for us to have a conversation with staff about that.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Good segue.
Yeah. Thank you.
So being no other questions, we'll go over to agenda item 4B3. 2024 annual waste operations report, and a copy of the annual waste operations report for 2024 is included in tonight's meeting package. Several highlights and interesting points noted at the committee meeting were the number of visits overall to waste recovery facilities have dropped by 10% over the last 5 years. For 2025, 34,400 customers visited these 10 sites. The busiest sites are Harbour Grace, Whitburn, and Bay of Bulls in that order. Cavendish and Bell Island sites were closed for the winter season on December 16th, and they're scheduled to reopen on April 5th. The board incurred additional expenses of $20,500 to maintain operations at the Bell Island site due to ongoing vandalism at the facility. This facility served 629 customers last year, which means the board paid an additional expense of $32.59 per customer to cover the cost of vandalism only. This does not include the cost of operating and staffing the site. The HHW program was discussed as already reported. The curbside collection program was performed under 11 contracts that include 25,886 households. The bulk oversized items collection by appointment was successful with positive reports from community leaders, our customers, and the contractors who performed the work. The bulk oversized items collection by appointment for 7 of the contract areas cost $154,831.90 or $17.22 per helping. 10 communities participated in the board's community cleanup program. This is a 30% reduction from 2023. This program provides an opportunity to dispose of up to 10 tons of eligible materials at one of the board's waste recovery facilities. The committee directed staff to ensure that communities are once again reminded of this program. The Clarendon Transfer Station continues to provide a valuable service for the area. Last year, they processed more than 5 million kilograms of regular garbage and more than 425,000 kilograms of recyclables. 425,000 kilograms of recyclables, rather. It required 263 trips to transport this waste from Clarendon to Robin Hood Bay. Are there any questions?
Hearing none.
Being none, that's the end of the report. Thanks to everyone.
I'd like to thank Christie for that report. Good job. Some good information in there.
May I add,
Yes.
hopefully the community cleanup program, please feel free to mention that, especially for our rural representatives. We are currently, our communications coordinator has some materials done that makes it look really pretty about the community cleanup program. We circulated or sent a letter last fall, but we've asked him following the board meeting to create some new materials. And we hope to have that up next week, I believe, and we should be ready, or maybe even tomorrow. Because I know I signed up on it this afternoon. But we're going to send it to every community in the eastern region, outside the metro area, obviously, and really trying to encourage them to participate in this community cleanup, and it allows them to clear up all the public spaces in the communities.
So get your letter out. Councilor Davis.
I was just curious, so what, can you just give a brief overview of what is the garbage bags and you guys pick it up, is that how it works, or is you guys picking it up?
No, they pick it up themselves, but we allow them access to the waste recovery facilities. As
They transport it to the waste.
yeah, so they would bring it down. Any community can participate. Last year, we had a non-incorporated community on the southern shore, and that was actually coordinated by the MHA. But he brought a group of people together. They filled up some trucks and they brought it to our Babel site. And as long as the materials are acceptable at our site, so we can't take regular garbage, we can't take recyclables because that would be in contravention of our certificate of approval. But what we asked the town to do is to separate that for their own bins. But any of those tires and all the other litter that's there, that could be bagged up, could be brought to the sites, and we would then transport it to Robin Hood Bay. So they don't have to take it all the way to Robin Hood Bay. And we'll take up to 10 tons or 25.
20 pickups, and
Yeah.
some of the added benefits of it is that it doesn't go towards your 16 visits or waste recovery facilities.
Yeah.
And if any commercial entity is volunteering their vehicle, they will be allowed access to the sites. We don't usually allow access by commercial vehicles.
Yeah.
So there's a few things there to help access the sites.
We try to keep some stats, like, I guess, from towns, like, time of the day they have their community event, how many people attend. I know, like, because we've done it several years at Booch Golf. And like, it's like I say Saturday, if you have it at 7 o'clock in the morning, I find you get more people. Then if you have it at 11, I think last year we had one family,
Oh, my goodness, okay.
right? But if you had it early in the morning, because people are busy Saturday,
They get busy on Saturday.
right?
We certainly do have that information
Yeah,
for each of the communities,
Yeah.
and you're right, we have had one family or one man with his grandchildren. Do these things.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking like when we put out the next year, when we put out the course, like the information, maybe have some tips for,
Suggestion.
right? Just, it could help, I mean, like, if ours failed miserably actually.
We just asked them to register the event with us to let us know. Obviously, we need to know who's going to be showing up or what the license plates are in the trucks, when the event's taking place, time. But yes, we could certainly get better with
Just
the
get an idea.
information. And I think past discussions here at the board table is that the board will be open to us even working with the communities and providing gloves and bags and things like that. So that might be something that we could discuss further at strategy.
Anybody else? No? All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have our governance committee is the deputy mayor, Kevin McDonald. He's the committee chair and he's back in the groove. Good to see you back, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The governance meeting was held March 19th, 2025. Agenda item 4C1, board professional development opportunities for 2025. Briefing materials are included in tonight's meeting package for your review. The committee discussed the tabled professional development opportunities for 2025 and noted that the board will not be attending any conference or professional development event being hosted in the United States this year. Following review of the agenda for the events being held in Canada, the committee determined it would recommend participation in the FCM annual conference and trade show taking place in Ottawa from May 29th to June 1st by sending the board chair, a CEO, and 2 directors. If you're interested in attending the FCM conference, please send your expression of interest to the CEO by April 8th. So be it resolved that the board participate in the Federal Canadian Municipalities FCM Annual Conference and Trade Show 2025, taking place in Ottawa, May 29th to June the 1st by sending the chair, CAO, and 2 directors. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor McDonald, second by Councilor Bruce. Any other comments on that? We have 2 FCM board members here. We should support them. Feeling there. All those in favor? Contrary carried.
Okay, agenda item 4C2, joint council's report. A brief note is included in tonight's meeting package for review. The board clerk and outreach coordinator provided her report for the ongoing administrative support to the Southern Shore and the Northeast Avalon joint councils. The Southern Shore Joint Council last met on March 6th and continued the discussion regarding the lack of broadband and cellular coverage in the area. They continue to work on this issue. The Northeast Avalon Joint Council last met on March 12th and had presentations from Metrobus and RNC Association. A regional transit system continues to be a priority. Are there any questions?
Councilor Bruce.
I just want to say thank you to Holly for her support with the Avalon, Northeast Avalon. This is my 4th year, yeah, I guess I started with it. It's just gotten better every year. I think the attendance, we very rarely see it cancel. And the conversations are really good. The presentations are interesting and I think relevant. Because sometimes I would find being in St. John's, some of the conversations sometimes are not as relevant to the city as they are to outside the city. But it's been really, really beneficial. So good. Thanks for your time here.
Okay, that concludes my report for the evening. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. See you back again.
Yeah, good to be back.
Hopefully your spouse doesn't have too many new sneakers.
Oh, it's 744 now.
No.
100,
That's not even an exaggeration.
no,
It's like the Amelia Marcos of sneakers.
120 or 130 some persons. I'm serious.
You're patient.
She doesn't even jog or run. No, Fake Traven doesn't even jog or run. She does. All right, correspondence, we had an email from MHA Helen County Alzheimer, really a constituency inquiry that's being included in your package there. We have a couple of new business there, motions by email to be ratified. Yesterday we have received 2 motions for ratification. Due to the tight timelines, the motions were sent by email and we will ratify those motions this evening. Number 1 is be it resolved that the board award a contract for the Smith Sound area oversized items collection to Verity Villa Limited in the amount of $27,600 plus HST included. Oh, sorry, HST included. So moved. Second by Councilor Hickman. All those in favor? Contrary carried. What was I saying? Did you? That's an easy view to say. I know. The next one is be so resolved that the board award the contract for Puchco oversized collection to Dynamic Waste Management Limited in the amount of $16,905 plus HST included, and Councillor Verdi has declared a conflict of interest as he is the mayor of Puchco. So he will be abstaining from voting on this particular one, but,
Worship mayor.
worship the mayor, yeah. So moved. Second by Carl. He's the other guy who had a chance. All those in favor? Count carries.
Scratch his nose.
Well, you raise your hand up.
Just for members' information, those prices are good. They're pretty much in line with last year. I think the Smith Sound was $1,000, $50 more than last year. But we've also added on extra appointments, almost double them. So we're quite pleased with these prices, by the way.
But the
Yeah.
best one is the second one. We have a new contender in our mix for picking up garbage and waste. So that's good to have some new players in the game.
Yes, Dynamic Waste Management is a new business. They bought out Ridge GMP Services. So yeah, it's gonna be good to have a.
So
Another
good job, Christine, finding new people to do our,
Looking forward to working with them.
yeah, they seem to be pretty good.
They're very kindly.
Very good, it's good news.
Yeah.
I guess we'll do our roundtable, starting with Sheila on screen. Catch you off guard, you weren't paying attention there for a second.
You think I'm not ready to talk? Can you hear me okay? It's all good?
Good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention since our last meeting, as the representative for Clean St. John's, bringing the bittersweet news that many of course, around this table would have already known is that they've decided to dissolve their organization. However, the city of St. John's has basically is going to incorporate and take over those programming in the various departments throughout the city. I just wanted to really give a shout out because it's 34 years of dedicated service by not only an executive director and an ongoing, volunteer board, but it really truly took a village, right? Community and community and community cleanups for 34 years. So it was founded in 1991. Very, very important thing for community building and picking up litter. So I just wanted to acknowledge the good work of that board and thank them so much for the service. And certainly we're going to keep a close eye on how this is going to come forward. Our staff are going to provide a framework on how the city will kind of incorporate this kind of educational as well as community engagement for cleanups process. It will be run under community services, but the details are yet to come forward. But I want to say thanks to staff, all the staff in advance. And, certainly we all want to ensure that not only do we continue to do the work that's been happening, but to improve on the work that's been happening. And we all have a part to play in that. So again, a big shout out to Clean St. John's for incredible service over the years. And the second thing I just wanted to mention is about Earth Day coming up April 22nd. The city of St. John's has got a number of different activities that are going to be happening for Earth Day. And I will have more details that'll come forward on that. There's going to be flag raisings, backyard composting opportunities, virtual workshops on reducing food waste, guided hikes in Bowring Park, alongside of the ongoing programming that certainly happens all the time with our park staff. But we will certainly be getting a more cohesive message coming forward about those activities in the near future. But the thing that I really wanted to kind of summarize in this is that what I'm happy to see is, things are changing, obviously, in our responsibilities around litter reduction. But I think that there's a lot of really great opportunities that are before us as well. So I'm looking forward to recommendations from staff. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Rob, anything there?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Hey, Ophelia?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Okay, Mark? No?
I just want to point out that the snow is gone, I guess, in all our communities and getting out and getting those cleanups encouraged. And I started talking about an open line on Tuesday past. Leading by example is very important. And obviously we're the ones who gotta get the ball rolling. So encourage my compatriots to lead by example.
Lead by example. Kevin?
I'm good, thanks.
Right. Still good? You're not sure. Right, I'm good. Your worship? Good. Holly?
Good.
Yeah.
I've got a little message.
Alright.
On Wednesday, March 19th, the board provided a day of professional development to your part-time staff, the site attendants, that actually work on your waste recovery facility sites. We had an amazing interactive virtual session with Ember Experience, who developed a presentation for our staff. Christy worked with them. So they basically tailored a session to provide the staff with techniques to use when faced with challenging situations with the public. So appropriate, so needed following this past experience of the last year. The remainder of the day, we spent reviewing current site policies, and Christy spent quite a bit of time with all of them, ensuring that they were trained and fully comfortable in the use of those access cards that's coming in. They all had the app on the phone. They were all basically went through the whole process. I think when they left on the 19th, they were very comfortable with that process, and I think they're ready to go. I know they're already processing cards. Sum it up, it was a great day. Site attendants were engaged. They were willing to share their ideas and suggestions. In addition, the board chair stopped by and they really appreciated that. Thank you very much on behalf of the site attendants for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to meet you all. We're all a hard-working bunch of people.
Yeah.
Lynn?
No, nothing from me, Mr. Chair.
You don't even want to say that.
I just want to say.
Lynn and I rode Victoria.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Glenn.
What to be recorded.
What?
I just want to thank the chair and the CAO for coming out last night to attend the meeting with us and answer some questions that some of our councillors had. And all went well and all is good. And next time we're going to try to go with somebody else.
We certainly appreciate the opportunity to go over, Glenn, in all seriousness, to
Yeah.
meet the council, because I know at the beginning of the changeover from one contractor to the other, there was a bit of a few bumps hit. But it seems as we met with you guys on Monday night, that it seems to be resolved now and everything seems to be moving well. So certainly appreciate you guys coming on board with the Region Service Board. So I know nothing, any small part of your lobbying, so thank you for that. Hilda.
Yes, one small item in front of the site, there's some garbage. If you go a mile on that end of the site, a mile that way. There's zero, only in front of this site.
So we have been fortunate that the Whitburn site is the only site I'm aware of that the Highway Traffic Patrol has been on our site several times to enforce the covered loads, because we certainly do have a problem with vehicles coming without covered loads.
For the sake of 20 minutes it takes to pick up that is not worth aggravating it.
Well, we shall write a letter to the Minister of Transportation asking to pick up for that crew. Is that their road, right? Is that their road? Is it highway road?
No, I don't think so.
Roads road.
Fountain.
Whitburn's road. So
Yes.
you guys should go.
Yeah.
It's on your property.
Not our property. See if the waste site wasn't there, the garbage wasn't there.
I don't know about that.
Now town's big North Maine.
We'll let the EPO make that decision.
Yeah, there's professional staff out there to determine where
Whose
that fault?
responsibility it is, yeah.
Rod?
Joint Council Conception Day in North Bay. Again, on March 20th, had a productive meeting, well attended. The major issue that needs to be shared and lobbied for is the lack of police presence in our area. They attended detachments from Harbour Grace and Dave Roberts. The undersupply of officers is embarrassing. It's not the key word. The key word is unsafe. They're asked to do a great deal of work in our area, and I guess the message here is the support that is needed. There's got to be lobbying. It needs to be an election issue, and as we know, we got 3 of these elections coming this year, federally, provincially, and for municipal. There's just there's a real need. There's a real need for support, and hate to use the ERSB meeting for this purpose, but
No.
we gotta get that message out there.
Yeah.
These guys need help, and this is an old issue. This has been going on forever and a day.
Right, I thought I did see Minister Davis on the news, was it maybe the last night, the night before, talking about something along that line there, and they were making, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changed, but
I hope so. And no
Yeah.
disrespect implied, but it's a message that's been echoed for some
a
time.
number of years.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, again, we had an election coming.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that the message was made.
No, fair enough.
Hi, that.
Sure.
Well, maybe you and I can speak about this after the meeting.
Love
I have a couple of contacts for some groups that I think might be of benefit to that joint council.
Having Holly and the council, isn't it? Huh? You all kinds of information.
I echo what Jill said earlier. I support you.
Councillor Hickman.
Oh, good, thanks.
Good. I don't know, I can't remember where it started.
I'm good.
That's all.
No, I remember his name because right in front of me. Charles. Pearls of wisdom from them.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here as usual and nothing to update tonight. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, a couple things for me and we'll end off. I would also like to echo Sheila's comments on the Clean St. John's. I think the original was the St. John's Clean and Beautiful. It
Yes.
started out as, and then it moved to Clean St. John's, but then there's something else in between.
No,
But I do want to thank the staff there. They've done an awesome job and Councillor Hickman, I know your spouse works there. And please, on behalf of the board, say thank you for all the hard work she's put in over the last 34 years. I think she was there from the beginning. right?
no,
No? Last what, how many years?
16.
16 years, that's significant. So thank her on behalf of us for doing her part to make St. John's feel good. And just pick up on something Tom said, pardon the pun, pick up, but dog poop. It's the time of year when everyone who has a dog starts cleaning up the dog poop in their backyards. I would ask them, only because I remember the days. If you're putting your dog poop out to the bin, put it out in little smaller increments, don't put it all out in one big giant 50-pound sack of dog poop. Because you have to remember, these ladies and gentlemen who go around and pick up the waste have to handle that. And if you put it in the back of a compactor and the bag breaks open, it's not pleasant. And it has, when I was on the council of Conception Bay South, it did happen to one of our sanitation workers. He put the bag in the back of the thing, compacted the garbage like you would, didn't know the dog pooped in the bag, and it exploded and went all over. And I don't think that's fair. So if I ask anybody to pass it on to your various communities, I know everybody's got it, just put it out in smaller increments that over the next 5 or 6 weeks and deal with it that way, so. I think that's it for me. Hard way to end the meeting on dog shit, but anyway, there we go. Next meeting, the board of directors will take place on April 23rd at 7 p.m. The location for this meeting will be, I think we're looking at.
I've tried 7 different places. I'll let you
Okay,
know.
well, I know, we're If you want us in your town, let us know. That's it for me. We're supposed to adjourn. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, I played on.
Everybody take care.
Forward for.
Yeah, and I was staying like, in the report, but.